showers early Friday, but improving to greater than 6 miles on Friday morning.
Stars shining bright above you. Night breezes seem to.
Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Friday, January the 28th. And hope everybody's doing good out there. What I'm going to talk about today, I was thinking about doing kind of like a 2-for-1 sort of a video. Talk about two different things that I kind of thought had kind of would have a connection to a lot of things that are going on today. But I think I'm going to do two separate videos, just so I'm not making the one video too long. I want to give kind of equal attention to both, I guess, a little more so in individual videos. But what I'm going to talk about today is a little thing that happened back in the early 90s with a elderly woman by the name of Stella Liebeck, and a little incident that happened with her and some McDonald's coffee. This case, when it happened back in 1992, it got a lot of attention. But unfortunately, a lot of the attention it got was just because of just very specific things that happened in the case. And unfortunately, there was a lot of things that happened that were told wrong. They got it wrong. Even the national news folks got it wrong. And this lady, basically, it really put her in a really, really bad light and made it look like what she did was something that it was not, unfortunately. If you're of a certain age and older, you will remember this. Is where this lady, Ms Liebeck, went to McDonald's. It was her and her grandson, and they were going to order something to eat for breakfast and something to drink. So the grandson's driving, she's in the passenger seat. They get their order, and the car they were in, there weren't any flat surfaces in it, so they couldn't really sit stuff down, so they pull into a parking space. So she wanted to deal with her coffee, but she didn't have someplace where she could sit it, so she puts it between her knees and goes to take the top off the coffee. And when she took the top off, that's when the coffee dumped all over her lap and then pooled in the seat that she was sitting in. Now, Ms. Stella was, at the time, she was 79, okay? And when this happened, and, even if, okay, you're talking, if you've ever gotten hot coffee from anywhere, it's, restaurant kind of coffee, it is, I don't drink coffee, but I know enough people that have, over the years, that complain about the coffee from a lot of places just being way just ridiculously hot. Sometimes even like the coffee machines, the vending machines being the same way, being really hot, like you got to let it sit for 10 minutes before you can drink it because it's so hot. Well, and what ended up happening is she got so injured from the coffee spilling on her lap, because and I'm sure her age did not help. You get older, your skin's going to tend to be a lot thinner and stuff like that. Be probably, I'm sure, probably more sensitive to burning situations like this when you're talking about, something hot being on your skin. It injured her quite significantly, but this was not reported in the press. And it was like a laughing stock, this whole case. And a lot of people, and for a long time, I didn't even know the full story of it either, until because she was forced to not speak about what had happened with her and the case and everything. So she couldn't really clear her name. And so basically, the way that this kind of goes down is, the sequence of events. Okay, so like I said, so Ms. Stella is at the McDonald's. This happens. She's with her grandson. She goes like into shock, like almost immediately. Her grandson's like, okay, he knows something's wrong. He's got to get her to the hospital. Something is very, very wrong. So now she had recently been living in Las Vegas. She had just recently moved to Albuquerque to be close to family. And so fortunately she had her family with her to help her through this. And fortunately she wasn't by herself. Like I said, she was with her grandson. And so they get her to the hospital. And now remember, all of this was just one small 8-ounce cup of coffee. That's it. There's the teeny little McDonald's coffee cups. So she gets to the hospital, and it is determined she is burned over 16% of her body. It's, like I said, it's going to be the thighs, perineum, buttocks, genitals, and groin area. 6% of the burns were 3rd degree. Okay. She was in the hospital for a week because of this. She had to have skin grafts, on a lot of this. It was that bad. And I'm going to have some pictures in here. I'll put them in here somewhere of the injuries that resulted from this. And they're graphic, okay, but it just shows just how bad this was. That this was not as many jokes that were made about this. It really, really was a serious thing, and not just some frivolous, oh, I spilled hot coffee on me, I want a bunch of money. But she's in the hospital for a week. She's got to have all this, the skin grafts and, all this care because of having been burnt so bad. Well, her medical bills ended up reaching like $10,000. And even the family was surprised at how bad the burns were, but the fact was is she was still burned really bad. So she decides to contact McDonald's and ask to be reimbursed, and also asked for McDonald's to check the temperature of the coffee because she didn't want this to happen to anybody else. Yeah, obviously, this is bad. And so after the initial contact, McDonald's only offered Ms. Liebeck $800. That's it, $800. She asked for 10, and this is just, to cover, her medical bills. They said, well, okay, we'll give you 800. So the family decided at this point to retain a lawyer and attempted twice to settle out of court. Ms. Stella was also wanted to make sure no one else had this happen to them. So McDonald's policy was to serve coffee between 180 and 190 degrees. And just as a point of reference, home coffee makers are 30% have a 30-degree lower temperature than this. Okay, so even the most people that drink coffee are going to have the home coffee maker. So just to give you a point of reference, this coffee's generally about, at the time, would have been about 30 degrees hotter. And a burn expert testified that liquids at 180 degrees could cause 3rd-degree burns in 15 seconds. Let's see. And also documents were presented showing that between 1983 and 1992, nearly 700 people claimed that they had burned by hot coffee just at McDonald's. Okay. It was argued McDonald's was indifferent to just turning down the temperature of the machines, of the coffee machines. McDonald's argued that the fact that she was burned is exceedingly rare. Their statistic they gave was 1 per every 24 million cups of coffee sold. Therefore, to them, it was statistically insignificant, so they weren't going to change it. It was not worth it to them to change it for one case out of 24 million cups of coffee sold. And they also claimed it was an industry standard that other restaurants would serve coffee at the same temperature as well, and also claimed that customers wanted their coffee to be that hot. Now, again, I don't drink coffee, and I obviously haven't spoken to every coffee drinker. I've known quite a few people that have mentioned that just that in their opinion the coffee does tend to be too hot. And any coffee drinkers that drink coffee out at different places like that, comment down in the comments. Let me know what you think. Give us your opinion on whether the coffee's too hot or not hot enough. Okay, so and like I said, she required skin grafts to repair the damage, and after 7 days of testimony and 4 hours of deliberation, only 4 hours. Okay, so this is how swiftly and how the jury felt in this case about what happened. The jury found in Ms. Stella's favor and awarded her $200,000 in compensatory damages, and also because they say that because she caused the spill, they did reduce that to $160,000. So, but still, that it would more than cover her medical bills and stuff like that. Now, the jury also set punitive damages, which was basically to send a message to McDonald's, because they felt McDonald's needed to, have a particular, to be able to deal with this in a particular way, that they would hate to see someone get burned like this again. They set punitive damages to be $2.7 million, and the figure was based on what McDonald's sold in 2 days as far as coffee goes. Their coffee sales for 2 days would equal $2.7 million. Now, it was eventually reduced by the judge to $650,000 and was settled for less than $500,000. Okay, which that can happen. It doesn't necessarily always have to be whatever the amount was suggested to be by the jury. It can be changed. So of course, this huge verdict found in favor of the plaintiff it got a lot of news. I mean, if you were old enough to be consciously aware of things at the time, you heard about it, and you heard about it a lot. I mean, everybody talked about it. I mean, from TV down to the late night talk show host. I mean, it was fodder for everybody, not just the newscasters, but people making jokes and stuff. Now, so this unfortunately overshadowed a lot of what had happened to Ms. Liebeck. Like I said, that she was really unfairly portrayed as being, like she was just out for the money, which she wasn't. She really was hurting. People didn't understand this. And, like, for instance, the original story that ran in the Albuquerque paper was almost 700 words. But then by the time it hit the AP, now it's half that. It's like 350 words or something like that. And then by the time it got out to, other cities, like in the newspaper, you have to, like, the column on one side where it'll have little blurbs about, happenings in particular states. In New Mexico, it's, it would be reduced to the little square in the column on the side where it's like 45 or 48 words by then. How much information are you really going to give in 48 words? So unfortunately, she really got the raw end, no pun intended, she got the raw end of the deal when it came to just all the publicity and stuff surrounding it also, and the fact that she wasn't allowed to talk to the press. She wasn't able to set the record straight. and, you know, clear her name and let people realize that just how bad what had happened to her was, and it was not a joke. There was a documentary made about it called Hot Coffee. I've seen it before. It's a really good documentary. So if you do ever come across it, I suggest watching it. It is very, very well done. See, and a few interesting things that that happened as a result of this having happened, and the narrative of what happened being changed so drastically. Because, for instance, one thing that had happened is national news was reporting that when it happened, when the coffee got spilled, that she was driving a car and had the coffee between her legs, which isn't even what happened. You know, she was a passenger in a car that was parked in the parking lot. You know, but the case was so popularly misunderstood that in 2011, the Utah Supreme Court ordered a personal injury case retried because the defense attorney compared that case to Stella's case. And it's also used in jury selections in the U.S. to see if the people they are speaking to be potential jurors are open to facts. Stella did die in 2004 when she was 91. And since her case, since what happened, McDonald's did start serving, or having it held in the machines and being served at 170 and 180 degrees, which is 10 degrees lower than what it was before. So, you know, on the upside, it is not maintained at quite as high of a level as it had been at the time. Okay, so that's the first part of my two-part video that I'm going to do the second one in a separate video, just to make it, like I said, so I can have each one have its own separate time. There's going to be another case that happened and was tried in a fairly big way, also back in the 90s, in the press, in the TV, and all the different media outlets and stuff. But it was someone that kind of on the other end of it, somebody that was trying to not be so honest about something, but really took it the extra mile, I think, in the to an extent that I think a lot of people wouldn't. So be on the lookout for that one. This one is a very heartfelt kind of, you feel bad for this elderly woman and all the horrible pain and suffering that she had to go through as a result of all things, having coffee that's so hot that it burned her to the point of having to get skin grafts, to what happened in these other situations that I'm going to talk about here. Hopefully I'll have it up here in a couple of days, and then I'll kind of tie everything back up at the end in a big old bow. As far as the comparisons to how I think just how the media is in the now, because back then in the 90s when these things happened, we didn't even have social media. And I think if we had, I don't even know what would have happened with social media, with this. I mean, as out of control as this story got without social media and just the TV media going to town with it, this was a hot mess. So, okay, so that's going to be it for today. And like I said, hopefully here in a couple of days, I'm hoping I'll have the other one up. That's the bookend to this one. And so, if you would please as always, hit that like button. And if you would subscribe to my channel, I would really, really appreciate it. And hit that bell notification so you know when my videos go up. And I hope everybody has a great weekend, and thank you for stopping and watching my videos. Bye.